You ever meet someone who's just incredibly charming? They remember every little detail about you, but you still feel like you're hitting some kind of invisible wall? Well, today, we're going to dive into the psychology of people who find it really hard to trust and what's actually going on underneath it all. This quote just nails that feeling, doesn't it? It's not that the person is cold or rude, not at all. It's this subtle but very real boundary, a limit on how deep the connection can possibly go, even when, on the surface, everything seems totally fine. This just flips the script on what we think we know. We tend to picture a distrustful person as this paranoid loner, right? Someone cynical, assuming everyone's out to get them. But the reality? It's often the complete opposite. A highly capable social architect, someone who is brilliant at making you feel seen, all while carefully managing the distance to keep themselves safe. In this outward skill, this social architecture, it isn't some kind of game. It's a protective mask. It's a very sophisticated system that's been carefully built up over years and years to navigate the world safely. So, where does this whole architecture come from? To really get it, we have to go way back. Back to the beginning, to a conclusion that was drawn a very, very long time ago. Okay, so here's the thing we often get wrong about trust. It's not something you're born with. It isn't a personality trait. It's actually a conclusion. It's a conclusion your nervous system reaches based on all the evidence it gathered when you were very, very young. The psychologist John Bowlby's work on attachment theory explains this whole process perfectly. So if a child's earliest evidence shows that their caregivers, the people who are supposed to be their source of safety, are inconsistent or maybe even threatening, well, the brain forms a really powerful conclusion. People are unsafe. And that becomes a neural template, a kind of working model that the brain will then fiercely defend in every single relationship going forward. So how does that early template actually play out in someone's life today? Well, it creates this constant, completely exhausting internal conflict, a war within. And this is the core of the struggle, right here. On one side, you've got this fundamental human need for connection, pulling you towards other people. But on the other side, you have this deeply wired belief, this old programming that's just screaming that getting close simply isn't survivable. Can you imagine that exhausting negotiation happening inside your head every single day? A lot of this is rooted in something called betrayal trauma. This is what happens when the very person who is supposed to care for you is also the person causing you pain. To survive, a child's brain has to literally suppress the awareness of that betrayal. I mean, you can't just leave someone you completely depend on, so you learn to not know what you know. And the consequence of suppressing all that is this deep, profound self-doubt. The distrust doesn't just point outward at other people anymore, it turns right back inward on yourself. You start questioning your own perceptions, your own feelings. This is just such a perfect way to put it. When you're told again and again that what you're feeling is wrong, that you're too sensitive or being dramatic, your internal compass gets scrambled. So you become hypervigilant, right? You can read a room with incredible accuracy, but at the exact same time, you're second-guessing everything you see. Okay, so that's the internal war, but how does all of that show up on the outside? Let's take a look at the behavioral patterns that come out of this, because they are so often misunderstood by everyone else. So this tends to show up in a few main ways. You've got the avoidant person who keeps everything shallow, the anxious person who's constantly testing the relationship, and then some people oscillate. They pull you close and then panic and push you away. But look at that last column. That is the key. Because from the outside, these behaviors can really look like manipulation. But on the inside, for the person going through it, it feels like survival. It literally feels like drowning. So is this a life sentence? Is this just how it is? Absolutely not. But rebuilding trust isn't about big, grand gestures. It's a slow, quiet, and deliberate process. The path forward is through something called earned security. It's this idea that new evidence, repeated, consistent, safe experiences can slowly start to revise that old working model. And notice that word revise, not erase. So how does this revision actually happen? Well, it's not through grand promises. You see, words mean very little to a nervous system that's wired for betrayal. It happens right here, in all the small, boring, unremarkable moments. Things like someone calling when they say they're going to call, or respecting a boundary you set without getting all defensive about it, or simply showing up consistently on a random Tuesday.
and it has to happen again.
And again, it's this relentless, quiet consistency that finally lets the nervous system stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's a slow, non-linear process of learning a whole new kind of safety. And I really want to end with this because it is such a vital reframe. If any of this has felt uncomfortably familiar to you, please know this. The intricate system you built to protect yourself is not a flaw. It's a testament to your strength. You built something truly extraordinary just to survive. The only question now is which of those walls do you still actually need?